As I sipped my iced latte, I watched my wife drown in the ocean. Despite Mr. Davis' pleas on his knees, I refused to help. When everyone condemned me as heartless, no one knew I had a voice recorder hidden in my wetsuit. This accident was a meticulously planned revenge for the son my wife had aborted 7 years ago. Mrs. Davis' face turned pale. Vivian is going to die. Mom, my leg is bleeding. That's a big no in the ocean. It might attract sharks. Mrs. Davis cried. How could there be sharks in her spot? If there were, she would have been bitten already. I took another sip of my iced latte, savoring the sweet, milky flavor blooming on my tongue, and said nonchalantly, you never know. There might really be sharks. I can't risk it. After all, I have a competition in 3 days. Mr. Davis, helpless, turned to the surrounding tourists for help. My daughter can't swim. Does anyone here know how to swim? Please, will you save my daughter? Sorry, sir, we are not strong swimmers. We can't help. That spot is a bit far. I don't have the stamina to swim that far. I could barely swim there, but how could I save her alone? Mr. Davis asked around, eventually returning to me. Ethan, that injury on your leg is nothing. Why won't you go save Vivian? She's your wife. Mrs. Davis, too, wiped away tears. You came from a rural background, had nothing to your name. When you were in college, you barely had money for living expenses, and relied on her occasional financial help. We strongly opposed her dating you back then, but Vivian argued with us, and was determined to be with you. When you got married, you had no house, no car, but she didn't look down on you, didn't ask you for a dowry, and even brought a wedding gift of 500,000 yuan after marriage. She managed the household meticulously, caring for her husband and raising their child. Hearing this, my eyes welled up, and countless warm memories of my time with Vivian flashed through my mind. Mrs. Davis wasn't wrong. My wife had indeed been very good to me. I came from a rural area, and in college, I often worried about living expenses. Sometimes, for half a month, I'd secretly eat plain steamed buns in my dorm. After I got together with her, she often helped me out financially, easing my embarrassment. You can clearly save my daughter, yet you are just standing by. Hurry up, Mom is begging you. The more she spoke, the more frantic she became, eventually kneeling and repeatedly bowing, hitting her forehead on the rocks on the beach until it bled. On the surface of the ocean, my wife's pale hand was flailing, as if trying to grasp something, but she only clutched at air. She was in grave danger. Many tourists surrounded us. After understanding what was happening, they began pointing fingers at me. Young man, that's your wife. Go save her quickly. His wife is drowning in the ocean, and he's still sipping his iced latte. Marrying a man like this is truly rotten luck. Mr. Davis anxiously said, Ethan, Vivian is really almost gone. She's your wife. How can you be so heartless? To save Vivian, he joined Mrs. Davis, kneeling before me again. Ethan, she's our only daughter. You are a swimming champion. Please, I beg you to save her. Disgusted glances were cast my way. Annoyed, I tossed the iced latte in my hand into a trash can. How many times do I have to say it? I told you my leg is injured. I can't go, don't you understand? My daughter, Chloe, looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Daddy, if Mommy sinks, will she still come back tonight to make me chicken nuggets? Many people fell silent, and a few girls quietly wiped away tears. Someone called the police, and others went to find the lifeguard at the scenic area. But the golden rescue window for drowning is only a few minutes. They clearly wouldn't make it in time. To be honest, I was not only a swimming champion, but had also learned rescue skills. From here to where my wife was drowning, I could quickly swim over and save her in 2 minutes. But at that moment, I had no such intention, because my leg was bleeding, and I had a national swimming competition in 3 days. The surrounding tourists, seeing me stand by, began to criticize me in unison. Young man, your wife is so good to you, and you have the ability but won't save her. That's not right. Forget she's your wife. Even if she were a stranger, and you had the ability to save her, you should still go. I simply sat on the beach, saying nothing. Seeing this, Mr. Davis was on pins and needles. He stood up and paced restlessly nearby, leaving a trail of messy footprints on the sand. Ethan, tell me, did you buy a large insurance policy on Vivian? Everyone suddenly realized he wouldn't really have bought insurance on his wife, would he? Holy cow, is a movie plot happening in real life? I shook my head. Aside from car insurance, we haven't bought any other insurance. Hearing this, Mr. Davis' face clouded over. He suddenly gritted his teeth and said, "Ethan, how about this?" He looked at me as if he had made a significant decision. "Go save Vivian immediately, and I'll transfer ownership of a house I own to you. What do you think?" Hearing this, I suppressed my excitement and looked up at him. "Really?" Seeing that I was tempted, Mr. Davis nodded repeatedly. "Yes, it's true. You know me, I definitely won't mistreat you. I only ask that you go save Vivian immediately. As long as you do that, the house where your mother and I live will be yours." Everyone was instantly moved by Mr. Davis' great gesture. Several girls even wiped away tears. What a father! In crucial moments, a husband might not be reliable. Only a father is your true support. The house had been fully paid for by Mr. Davis, so if it were transferred to me, I wouldn't need to pay a mortgage. That house was located downtown, and was worth about 3 million yuan. "All right," I agreed. "Okay, since you are so sincere, Dad, sign the transfer contract for me now. Ethan, Vivian is almost gone. Where are we going to find a contract now?" Mrs. Davis' face twisted with anxiety. "My daughter is so unlucky. How did she end up with such an animal?" Others also pointed at me and cursed. "Are you even human? Still thinking about your father-in-law's house at a time like this?" I shrugged. "If I don't get a contract in writing, what's to stop you from going back on your word later? You animal. If anything happens to your wife, you'll be charged with intentional homicide." "Yes, he has the ability but won't save her. He wants to watch his wife die. Why talk to him? Beat him to death." Several people rushed forward excitedly, fists clenched, ready to hit me. I sneered. "You want to injure me so I can't save my wife, is that it?" Hearing this, those people stopped one by one. "You monster!" Their eyes seemed to be spitting fire with hatred. I chuckled playfully and looked at Mr. Davis, still signing the transfer contract. Over there, Vivian had disappeared from sight. Mr. Davis anxiously said, "Where are we going to find a contract now?" I sighed, took a formal house transfer contract from my bag, and handed it over. Seeing how well prepared I was, Mr. Davis trembled with rage. You. But he ultimately signed his name. Someone indignantly whispered, "Once he goes into the water, we'll tear up this contract." I blew on the ink for signature a few times and looked at the delivery driver walking towards me. "When are you sending this?" "Right away." The delivery driver took my package and left. Everyone was dumbfounded, not expecting me to be so well prepared, even calling a delivery service despicable. Many people were furious, others mused. Is this person trying to scheme to inherit family fortune? Did he set up his wife's drowning? I've called the police. Lines be here soon to arrest him. Among the crowd was a female influencer who relayed what happened to her followers in the live stream. The comment section was filled with animal. People like him don't deserve to live. His wife falling into the water. Could he have done it? I quickly took off my clothes and rushed into the ocean. The seawater was cool. I swam effortlessly like a fish towards the scene, but my heart felt heavy. If I saw Vivian, would I save her or not? Suddenly, I felt uneasy. Surfacing, I saw in the distance that those people had stopped the delivery driver. They wanted him to return the house contract to Mr. Davis, but the delivery driver refused. I knew I had to quickly check on Vivian and then swim back, otherwise the transfer contract would be taken from me. I submerged again. There were many underwater reefs where Vivian had drowned. These reefs had many sharp protrusions on their surface. If one accidentally touched them, they could tear skin. Some reefs were covered in sea urchins. The spines of those sea urchins were thin and sharp, and easily broke off. If one accidentally stepped on them, the entire sole of the foot would be filled with spines embedded in the skin, causing intense itching and pain, making it very uncomfortable. I swam to a spot not far from that area and stopped. In this water, though the surface was choppy, the water below was calm, with no strong currents. Strangely, I circled around several times but couldn't find Vivian. After confirming I couldn't find her, I sighed, surfaced, and swam back to the beach. Where's Vivian? Why isn't Mom back? Mr. and Mrs. Davis and Chloe walked over, asking anxiously, Many tourists also gathered around. You didn't save your wife. You have the nerve to come back. I glanced at Mr. and Mrs. Davis, seeing the delivery driver in the distance giving me a victory gesture. A radiant smile blossomed on my cold face. I got it. I put on my clothes and started walking away. Where's my daughter? My poor daughter. Mommy. On the beach, Mr. and Mrs. Davis cried heartbrokenly, and Chloe was sobbing uncontrollably. Others also shed silent tears for the lost life. Suddenly, Mrs. Davis' eyes rolled back, and she fainted. Wife. Mr. Davis held her tightly, rubbing her temples until she woke up a moment later. Stop him. Don't let this animal escape. The enraged crowd surged forward, surrounding me. You monster. I ask you, can you swim? A man pushed me, asking angrily. I didn't answer, just looked at him coldly. Mr. Davis came over and shouted, not only can he swim, he's also a swimming champion. You animal, do you know your wife drowned in the ocean? You caused a death, it's all you. You killed my daughter. If you had gone earlier, she would definitely have been saved. You are a murderer. The police will arrest you and put you in jail. Someone else yelled, before the police get here, teach him a lesson. Mr. Davis yelled, yes. Break his arms and legs. The police won't hold all of us accountable. Those people who were already unhappy with me rushed forward. You can't hit me. I was terrified. I am a professional swimmer. If I were injured, how could I compete again? But they ignored me, continuously throwing punches. Fists rained down on me. Soon, I saw Mr. Davis, his face contorted with rage, pick up a shovel and swing it towards my leg. He wanted to cripple me. I quickly dodged. Then, with a splash, I jumped into the ocean. Seeing this, they were at a loss. At that moment, several people emerged from the crowd. One of them, a middle-aged man in a suit, walked over. Ethan, get out of the water quickly. I looked closely. It was Spencer, the director of our provincial swimming association. Director, what are you doing here? I had no choice but to go to the beach. Spencer showed me a tablet. It turned out that what had just happened had been posted online by the female influencer, and now there were several negative trending topics about me, all calling me heartless for standing by and being callous and ungrateful. Spencer looked at everyone and said sternly, Ethan, let's not even talk about the drowning person being your wife. Even if it were a stranger, as a swimming champion, you should have saved them. If you won't even save your wife, what's the point of winning a championship? Is your wife's life not worth more than a championship? The people around me loudly agreed. Well said. Considering the immoral conduct of our association member Ethan, and his failure to save a life, I now announce, on behalf of the Provincial Swimming Association, his expulsion. From today forward, Ethan can no longer represent our province in the National Swimming League. As soon as the announcement ended, enthusiastic applause erupted. My mind went blank, and I sank to the ground, utterly dejected. Winning the national swimming competition was my dream for many years. All my efforts over the years were for this. Unexpectedly, today I was stripped of this right. It's all your fault for harming my Vivian, you scumbag. Mr. Davis picked up pebbles and threw them at me. I dodged, looking up at him. Do you really think Vivian drowned and died? Mr. Davis gritted his teeth. You killed her. I'm going to make sure you go to jail. Yes, someone like him should go to jail, the crowd shouted. I curved my lips into a sneer. Since that's the case, then I'll return a very much alive Vivian to you. Everyone was dumbfounded, but I quickly rushed towards a white van ahead. The van seemed to sense my approach. It immediately started its engine, ready to flee. The van tried to drive away, but was blocked by a few people. After the car was stopped, one graceful figure smiled at me. Her name was Olivia, with strikingly beautiful features. She was my high school class president. I rushed over and opened the car door. Inside the car, a man and a woman, both wearing wetsuits and diving gear, with water still dripping from them, looked at us in a panic. I pointed at the curvaceous woman and said, Vivian, you've caused me so much suffering. The man panicked and shouted, what are you doing? What Vivian? I sneered, are you still going to pretend at this point? Mr. Davis rushed over and pushed me out a few times. Are you crazy? Vivian drowned. How could she be here? I pushed him away, walked a few steps forward, and said, Vivian, stop pretending, take off your oxygen mask and suit, and explain the situation to everyone. The people who had followed looked at each other in confusion. No way. The girl who drowned is here. What exactly is going on? She wasn't dead. How did she turn into a diver? The man pointed at me, his voice hoarse. You've got it wrong. This is my female assistant, not your wife. I laughed. Is that so? Then please ask her to remove her mask so everyone can see who she is. The man shook his head. No, this is a new type of full-body wetsuit. If she removes the mask, she'll have to remove the top too. You should leave quickly and stop bothering us. He pushed me. Too many excuses. I suddenly rushed forward to remove her wetsuit. Vivian, stop hurting me. Show yourself. In a flash, I took off her mask and top. Her expanse of pale skin was revealed. Ah. The girl's face was pale, and she quickly covered her chest in fright. You, what are you doing? Help. He's harassing me. The girl was beautiful, with delicate features. But she was not my wife. I froze. My mind a mess. This isn't right. Why isn't it Vivian? No, you should be Vivian. The man put a long coat over her and then punched me. I was knocked down. Many people pointed at me and cursed. You scumbag. You almost led us astray. He even led us into harassing someone, making that girl expose herself. But that girl has a really great figure. At that moment, both the tourists on the scene and the netizens online were tearing me apart. The enraged crowd urged the police to arrest me and put me in jail, preferably to execute me. I looked around, and a bewildered look suddenly brightened my eyes. I sneered repeatedly. Everyone, there's no need to get worked up, because I know where my wife, Vivian, is. Everyone looked at me again. I quickly walked to the other side of the car and opened the driver's door. The driver was also wearing a wetsuit, with a curvaceous figure. When she saw me, a flicker of panic crossed her eyes. Mr. and Mrs. Davis saw her and rushed over frantically to pull me away. What are you doing? Isn't harming one girl enough? Now you want to expose another girl's body. Spencer stared at me and said in a deep voice, Ethan, haven't you caused enough harm by killing your wife? How much longer do you intend to make a scene? The female influencer shouted loudly, everyone, look. The police are here. Tell them to arrest him. Beat him to death. Beat the pervert to death. Many people rushed at me, and I was beaten black and blue. At the same time, a police car quickly pulled up. A dozen police officers jumped out of the patrol car. Olivia, the class president, quickly said, they are hitting him. Tell them to stop. The police stopped the angry crowd and asked, who called the police just now? Many people raised their hands. Someone pointed at Mr. Davis, who reluctantly stepped forward and told the police, it's like this, my daughter accidentally fell into the water and drowned. My son-in-law is a swimming champion, but he refused to save her, watching her die. I suspect he wanted to kill my daughter all along as part of a scheme to inherit family fortune. Just now, he tricked me into transferring the house to him. Everyone here can testify. Many people nodded. Yes, the transfer contract must be invalid. We'll testify for this gentleman. Mr. Davis continued. Just now, he also harassed a girl here, pulling off her wetsuit and making her naked for everyone to see. The scene was a cacophony of voices, all telling similar stories to Mr. Davis. The lead middle-aged police officer, having understood the situation, called 2 officers over to arrest me. No, it's not what they said. There's more to this story. I stepped back, step by step. My wife didn't drown, and she isn't dead. This female driver is my wife. The people who came with Olivia stopped the 2 police officers from approaching. I seized the opportunity and quickly rushed to the female driver, removing her wetsuit and mask. She was a woman of about 25 or 26, with strikingly beautiful features and a pale face. Her large eyes showed deep unease. Unlike the previous girl, she was clothed. It was a pink branded swimsuit, very sexy, outlining her full figure. I had bought it for her, myself a week ago. When I bought it, she happily kissed me and thanked me for the gift. Many men stared, their eyes wide. She was not only beautiful but also had an incredible figure. Seeing her, Mr. and Mrs. Davis' expressions immediately changed. Even Spencer had no look of surprise on his face. Vivian, your scheme has been exposed. Your trick has been uncovered by me. Looking at the woman before me, tears blurred my eyes. I first met Vivian during a summer afternoon in the library during my sophomore year. We argued fiercely over the same seat. Seeing that she was about to cry, I had to say, forget it, A good man doesn't argue with a woman. You can have this seat. I turned to leave, but she tugged at my sleeve. Excuse me, I have an exam tomorrow for a subject I'm weak in. I'm afraid I'll fail. So, I understood. I then saw that the subject she was studying was one I excelled in. Chloe burst into tears. Daddy, you are mean. I don't want you anymore. I chuckled, took a bag from Olivia, and pulled out a paternity test result, tossing it in front of Vivian. The result clearly stated that Ethan was not Chloe's biological father. This test was done at State General Hospital. It's highly authoritative. If you don't believe it, you can get another test done. Seeing this, the police officers helplessly stopped. After all, they were reluctant to get involved in such family matters. People around me started whispering to each other, what exactly is going on? The daughter isn't his biological child. Looking at her eyes, her features, it seems like she doesn't resemble either parent at all. This is getting crazier and crazier. If it were me, and the daughter wasn't mine, I wouldn't save her either. Yeah, if this were ancient times, an adulterous couple would be publicly shamed and condemned. I looked at Vivian and said, what, are you going to keep acting? Vivian regained her composure and smiled gently. Honey, you've misunderstood. I really did drown just now. But luckily, a couple who were diving nearby saved me. Even now, she was still lying. As for our daughter, I admit I made a mistake, but that was before we were married. I was drunk and, in a daze, had relations with someone. Because I loved you, I didn't dare to tell you at the time. Is that so? I sneered. Then, for 5 years of marriage, I've asked you for a second child repeatedly, and you always found excuses to put it off. As for intimate moments, you always avoided them whenever possible. Regarding our daily life as a couple, there were many details I preferred not to mention. For example, when it came to intimate moments, she always found excuses to put them off, and her positions were too traditional. I thought she was shy, until I saw a large number of explicit videos on her phone, along with ambiguous chat records with a certain man. In the chat records, they talked about everything, often flirting, sometimes discussing different positions. Their words made me blush. Honey, you've misunderstood. Let's go home. Vivian gently embraced me, just like before. When we argued, she would use this tender approach, and I would always fall for it. But I harshly pushed her away. You faked drowning, wanting me to save you, trying to take my life. I know you all don't believe me, but I have video evidence. I tentatively said, if you don't mind, may I help you review? She looked at me in surprise and smiled charmingly. Okay, I'll treat you to dinner tonight. She actually took me to an expensive restaurant nearby, making me, with my tight budget, hesitant to order. That's how we met. She often asked me to hang out, but I often declined, because I was short on cash. I dared not date girls. However, she would insist on paying, and always sent me money for living expenses. At that time, she was a ray of sunshine in my dark, buried corner. She told me not to worry about money and to focus on my studies. I buried myself in my books, and showed talent in swimming, winning several championships, and later was recruited into the provincial team. After graduation, we married. She was very good to me, not asking for a dowry, and even brought 500,000 yuan as a wedding gift. I thought we would be together forever, but unexpectedly, I inadvertently discovered her scheme, and so, today's events unfolded. Now, looking at the crowd, I loudly said, do you all see? This woman is my wife, Vivian. I knew they didn't recognize Vivian, so I pulled up my phone's photo album, and showed them pictures of Vivian and me embracing and drinking the same iced latte, as well as a family photo of the three of us with Chloe. What exactly is going on? Oh my god, didn't they just say she died? How is she here wearing a wetsuit? Yeah, I also saw her drowning just now. She was struggling in the water, looking very distressed. How is she wearing a wetsuit now? Everyone was utterly bewildered. I smiled, because drowning was her scheme. Her goal was to ruin my reputation, and prevent me from participating in the national swimming competition. No, no! Vivian shouted loudly. Ethan, it's not what you think. I was rescued by them. You should be thanking them. I sneered. Rescued by them. So many eyes were watching just now. You were practically drowning, and we didn't see anyone rescue you. Besides, how does your wetsuit fit so perfectly? Mrs. Davis whispered something to Chloe. Chloe walked towards me, hugged my leg, and said in a childish voice, "Daddy, Mommy is okay now, can we go home? Get lost." Looking at this little person, I kicked her several feet away. What the hell? He even hits his own daughter. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Davis, recovering from the shock, shouted, "You animal. Are you crazy? That's your daughter." Mrs. Davis picked up Chloe and cried, "Officer, my son-in-law has gone mad. Please, I beg you, lock him up." A few police officers nodded and walked towards me, with handcuffs. "Mr. Ethan, you assaulted your daughter, please cooperate and come with us to the station." I smiled faintly. "Officers, who said she's my daughter?" Hearing this, jaws dropped across the scene. I looked at Vivian. "Do you want to say it, or should I?" Olivia obediently handed me a tablet. I pulled up a video for everyone to see. The video was shot underwater. Fish and shrimp swam by. Soon, a girl wearing a swimsuit and a swim float was carried by the waves. It was my wife, Vivian. Vivian extended her freshly manicured nails, which were somewhat sharp. Her sharp nails gently punctured the swim float. Soon, the air escaped from the swim float. She shouted loudly, "Help! Help me! Ethan, save me! Quickly, save me!" Vivian couldn't swim, bobbing up and down in the water. But soon, two figures quietly appeared underwater. One of them inserted a transparent oxygen tube into her nose, and gently held her legs underwater, supporting her, sometimes subtly pulling her deeper. Those on the surface would have seen her desperately struggling, seemingly about to be pulled under. After that, he dragged Vivian underwater, kissed her cheek, and they exchanged smiles. Soon, he and the other person quickly dressed her in a wetsuit, took her from underwater, and secretly climbed onto the shore at another spot, then walked towards the white van. Oh my God, so that's how it was. That man who put the wetsuit on her, that must be the other man, right? Look how intimate they were in the water. We were all fooled by that shameless woman. But what was her elaborate scheme for? Everyone collectively looked at me. I sneered, to allow her other man to win the National Swimming League Championship. "Brandon, you planned everything meticulously to frame me, but in the end, you are the ones who lost the most." As I spoke, I removed the wetsuit from the man wearing it. The man, with a square face, glared at me furiously. Those around said, "Ah, yes, that's Brandon, the swimmer, but his skill isn't as good as Mr. Eaton's." Mr. Davis anxiously said, "What does this video prove?" "My daughter drowned, you wouldn't save her, and Brandon saved her. Is that wrong?" Mrs. Davis pointed at me and cursed, "Yes, we begged you so many times. If you had just saved her, we wouldn't have had to trouble Brandon." I laughed. "Didn't you see her deliberately puncturing the swim float to let Brandon win the National Swimming League Championship? She even risked her own life." Saying this, I felt deeply distressed. I had thought she truly loved me, but later, I found out that her heart had already strayed before we were even married. Half a month ago, I was at an away competition with the swimming team. Because I achieved good results, I came home half a day early. At the time, I had even carefully bought many gifts to give her, but when I reached the door, I froze. I heard a man's voice from inside. It turned out Vivian had brought a man home, and that man was Brandon. He was the captain of the swimming team from the neighboring province. His skill ranked among the top 10 nationally. If I wanted to win the national championship, I was an insurmountable obstacle in his path. As long as I was there, the championship wouldn't be his. They devised a scheme. They planned to go swimming at the beach during the summer vacation, and Vivian would fake drowning, asking me to save her. As her husband, I would naturally jump into the water to save her without hesitation. At that time, Brandon and the female assistant would appear in wetsuits, drag me to the seabed, and stab the large artery in my thigh with a dagger, injuring me, or even killing me directly, to create the illusion of drowning. This way, I wouldn't be able to compete, and he could win the championship. When I heard this at the time, I felt like my whole world was spinning. My wife was actually colluding with another man to cripple me, and help him win the championship. Then, intimate sounds came from inside. When she was with me, she was incredibly traditional, not even willing to kiss during intimate moments. But now, they were trying many new positions inside. Vivian was also uttering lewd remarks non-stop, using every ounce of her charm. My heart turned completely cold. I immediately contacted a few classmates. Olivia, my high school class president, had a good relationship with me, and immediately offered to help me investigate. Everything was uncovered. Vivian and Brandon were childhood sweethearts. Later, their relationship ended when they went to different universities, but unexpectedly, after we got engaged, their old feelings rekindled after attending a class reunion. Chloe was conceived at this time, and only I was kept completely in the dark, raising a child from another man for several years. No wonder Chloe was usually not close to me, but would sweetly call Brandon uncle whenever she saw him. Everyone was dumbfounded. Oh my God, these two are truly wicked. This woman is disgusting. Mr. Eaton's swimming skills are amazing. He's already won several championships, and he was likely to win this national championship too. I heard that this national championship secured sponsorship from several large companies, with championship prize money of up to $50 million. If Mr. Ethan had gone into the water to save her just now, he would have not only lost his professional career, but also $50 million in prize money. Actually, they had already successfully expelled Mr. Ethan just now. If Mr. Ethan hadn't handled it so calmly, he would have really been messed over by this adulterous couple. Public opinion began to shift, and many people spoke out on my behalf. Many people even apologized to me online. For me, none of that mattered. I looked at the crowd. A figure, unnoticed by others, was quietly leaving. Officers, he's trying to escape. Catch him quickly. Spencer, the director of the Provincial Swimming Association, tried to flee but was stopped by several police officers. Looking at him, I sneered. Director Spencer, you were so eager to expel me just now. It was all for Brandon, wasn't it? No, that's not right. What happened earlier was just a misunderstanding. Spencer's face changed slightly, and he smiled calmly. Now that the truth is out, you are still a member of our association. I shook my head and looked at the female influencer's phone camera. Spencer has an illegitimate son, and that's Brandon. To ensure Brandon successfully won the national championship, Spencer was also a crucial part of their plan. As I spoke, I held up a paternity test result to the camera. The result clearly stated that Spencer and Brandon were biological father and son. No, don't listen to his nonsense. Spencer quickly tried to explain. I cut him off. You don't need to explain. Someone's already investigating you anyway. 2 police officers walked over, handcuffed him, and led him away. Brandon and his female assistant were also apprehended. Actually, this is all just a misunderstanding, Mrs. Davis said. Now that Vivian is fine, you two should go back and live happily. Yes, it's nothing. Lovers' quarrels are easily mended, so hurry on back, Mr. Davis hastily added, smiling, but I could see through their guilt. No wonder Mr. Davis had gone to great lengths to offer me a $3 million house before, because as soon as I fell into their trap, half their scheme would have succeeded, but they didn't know that I had learned of their scheme in advance and hadn't gone near that area. If I had gone closer then, Brandon and the female assistant, hiding behind some hidden reef, would have emerged to harm me. Ignoring them, I looked at Vivian and said, you probably don't know that Brandon and that female assistant have an unusual relationship, do you? Vivian's face turned pale. She forced a smile and said, honey, stop overthinking. Anyway, I've only just realized that you are the one I truly love. You don't love me. You are just after my $50 million prize money, aren't you? I scoffed, sending her a dozen videos. Those were secretly recorded by Olivia's people when they tracked Brandon. Watching those videos, Olivia was devastated, because Brandon wasn't just with that female assistant, there were other women too, even 2 of Vivian's best friends from college. Damn it, that scumbag. He said he only loved me. Vivian cursed loudly and went to repeatedly kick and hit Brandon and the female assistant. The 2 were handcuffed and couldn't dodge, taking Vivian's blows until they were coughing up blood. An enraged Vivian even stripped them of their clothes. Soon after, Olivia had 2 female officers take Vivian to the police car. Seeing all this, even though I savored the thrill of revenge, I felt utterly lost and empty inside. Once, I had filled this home with love, dedicating everything to it. Unexpectedly, this was the outcome. My wife tried to harm me, and my daughter wasn't even my own. As for Mrs. Davis claiming Vivian managed the household meticulously, caring for her husband and raising their child, that was just for show. Her idea of housework was ordering takeout, and after eating, carrying the trash downstairs to dispose of it. The only thing she could cook was scrambled eggs and toast, and it was often extremely salty. Even Chloe refused to eat her cooking. She spent all day at home playing games, disheveled and unkempt. She would only bother to get dressed up when Brandon came to see her. 3 days later, I won the national swimming championship. A month later, the court session began, and Vivian, Brandon, and Spencer were all sentenced to 5 years in prison. I sent her the divorce papers. Vivian, through the prison, requested to speak with me. I refused. 6 months later, our divorce was finalized. I took possession of Mr. Davis' house and hired people to evict the 3 of them. They, along with Chloe, ended up on the streets, left to scavenging for food. Olivia, the fact that I emerged unscathed and won the championship, I owe it all to you. With everything settled, I invited Olivia out and treated her to dinner at the most luxurious restaurant in the province to thank her for her help. You idiot. After all this, do you still see me as just your class president? After a glass of red wine, her cheeks were slightly flushed, and she said shyly, "But..." I bitterly smiled. She was the daughter of a prominent family in this province. While I was just a divorced swimming champion, I wasn't worthy of her. In high school, you often helped me with my homework and reviewed with me. I liked you then. Many times I wrote you love letters, but I never dared to give them to you. You idiot. Back then I invited you out to the movies at night and even asked you to come to my house for dinner. How could you not know I liked you? She bitterly smiled. But I didn't think much of it then. I always felt we were still young, with plenty of time ahead of us. There would surely be a day when we'd be together. But now, I don't want to miss out on you. Life is short. Ethan, will you be with me? She sat closer and gently rested her head on my shoulder. My body stiffened for a moment, but I didn't push her away. Instead, I held her tightly, embracing the elusive time and happiness of my youth, now holding them close. Yes. For the rest of my life, I want to be with you. We will be happy together.